Hi, I'm Linda. Welcome back. I'm in a different location today. I'm visiting my daughter, and I wanted to, my spare time, I wanted to paint this fall picture, so I just packed up a little easel, brought some canvas, paints, brushes, mineral spirits, and I'm all set. Got a card table here, worked out pretty slick. So yes, you're gonna love doing this one. I sure did. There's a lot of sunlight going on, coming down into a little pond. There's a little babbling brook here with little wave actions here, flashes, beautiful boulders, gorgeous trees. You're gonna love doing this one. So get your paints out, follow me. So let's get started. And here are the Winton Newton oil paints I used. Liquid white, titanium white, black, phthalo blue, Van Dyke brown, burnt sienna, Indian red, violet, orange, yellow ochre, cad yellow, and cad red hue. So now I've got a cleaned canvas, and I'm going to go over the top half. I've got a painter's tape right in the center, 10 inches down, and I'm going to paint the top portion of that with the liquid white. And then I'm going to go over it with a chop rag and get all the excess oil off. So I'm going right into cad yellow, and I'm going to go into the center, do X strokes. It's going to be the lightest area there where the sunlight is coming through the trees. So I just spread that out, blend it in, go across a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre. It's a little bit darker, not much, but it's just a little bit. I'm going to add it, put it on the sides and down in the center, over to the sides, a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right. Just give it a little variation of light and dark yellows there. Adding a little white up there too, brighten that the middle part up. Down below, I'm adding white down there. That's going to be kind of a misty area by the where the river starts. Adding a little more yellow ochre and just brushing straight across, blending it in. Going into Van Dyke brown, I'm going to start putting in some background trees, just background color. Not really forming the trees just yet, but it's just going to be background uh, color that's going to be behind those trees, just the base. So you don't have to be really fussy. You just got a 1 inch. I'm just dotting on, uh, little shapes going down. And then way at the bottom, I'm going to reload and make it a little darker. That area, it's going to have bushes. So, yeah, you don't have to, you can even add a little black. But you don't have to be real fussy. Keep the middle part pretty much open though. Maybe a little section above there. I'm taking a palette knife and scraping off right above the painter's tape that excess brown there. I'm going to put some white. I've got some white on my brush, and I'm going to make it look kind of misty down there. And I'm going to just keep tapping up and over a little. Maybe do some in the middle just a little bit. I'm going to take off the tape. And I'm going to put a little bit of the Van Dyke brown just tapping in. I'm going to start shaping the lay of the land And it's going to kind of go uphill a little bit there. Now I'm going into with a clean brush, liquid white, and I'm going to put some liquid white below that, all the way down the bottom of your canvas. Okay, so now I've got a little round brush, and I'm going to start shaping where that river, that stream starts and how it angles. I mean, you can, do it however you want, but looking at a picture and I want to try and duplicate it as much as I can. So I'm angling over. I've got a little mark there on the right. It's the center line of the canvas. I'm going to have it kind of zigzag around. It's go down and then all the way down. Just shaping how I want uh, the stream start, and it's going to be wider at the bottom. So I'm just put a little more brown in there. I'm going to make it real narrow uh, at the top there, real narrow, and then gradually it's going to be wider. So now you can see I've added some brown angling up on the right for the bank of the stream. But I'm making some trees. I've got a liner brush with a little bit of black and brown mix. Gonna make them in the back distance there. Put a few bigger ones, but not real big, off to the right. And the one off to the left of the center line there, I'm going to create uh, a light side of that. The right side of that big tree is going to be kind of whitish, and the ones on the right are going to be really a lot darker with black. And I'm just putting some little arms on the trees. So I'm tapping in a little black and white. I'm making a gray color, just kind of a dark gray. And I've got a little scruffy brush, but I'm just tapping in the lay of the land there. I want it kind of dark. I'll be putting some light colors on top of that, but I just want to get the angles going uphill a little bit. Same on the right side too. Just tapping some of that gray and getting the angles of how the land is going. Okay, I've got a little bit of uh white. It's straight white, I guess, on a fan brush. I'm just zigzagging in there. I'm putting a little water back there. Now I've got a 1 inch and I've got some Indian red with a touch of burnt sienna. And I putting that right on the edge, working my way forward a little bit. And you'll notice I am dipping in the browns and that I'm kind of mixing up the colors a little bit, but um, to give it a little, depth and variety. Now on the bottom, I'm making that really dark, black, a little bit of brown, keeping the angles of the land. It's not straight across, it's kind of going uphill a little bit. I'm going into a lighter gray, and I'm going to make that another tree. I'm going to put another tree in there. All the way to the top. Going to straight black. Got a little brown brush. On the left side of that tree, it's going to be dark. The, the, the right side is inside there. It's kind of being exposed by that sunlight that's coming through. So I want the right side a little bit lighter. I'm going to, with another liner brush, and start putting some arms and perfecting that center tree a little better. I'm putting some branches outward, real light here and there. You can put as many as you want. A lot of them will be covered up, but with all the foliage that we'll be putting on there. I've got my little 1 inch there, and I tapped in some more dark brown with a little touch of burnt sienna on that with the brown, just to give it a little bit a reddish tone to it. Now another clean 1 inch, I'm going into yellow and with a touch of orange. I'm going to start dotting the light, the real light area right up in that corner. So I'm going to make that quite a little bit yellower up there. Burnt sienna and a touch of Van Dyke brown, a little bit of Indian red, making a real pretty rusty color. And that's going to go right over, a little bit over on those orange areas that we just put in there. Just shaping. There's going to be another tree on the left, way on the left, so it's not in yet. But the leaves, I'm putting the leaves in there because there are many trees in that area, and I want to give a lot of variation of color. But I'm doing this rusty color, burnt sienna with a little touch of Indian red, just touching on some of those orange areas. And I'm putting some leaves with that same brush. I'm doing a little, some angles down on the right there. Little brush. Got some color on them. In the back a little bit, just tapping. Okay, I'm going into the yellow ochre and yellow. I'm making pretty bright yellow ochre with a touch of yellow. Now the center where the sunlight is coming in, that area, that tree is going to be really bright yellow. So I'm just kind of adding some foliage on that center tree there. And the next one too. Those are going to be quite yellow. So I want to dot in, tap in some leaves in that area. Back to the orange, a clean brush, orange. And I'm going to start tapping toward the bottom there. Some orange on some of those bushes. And down in the front. Now we're only a little way, halfway on this canvas, and I will adjust my camera angle. Okay, now I've got a fan brush with straight yellow and a little bit of white, making it real bright. Just tapping in some of that color. And I'm going to, in the back line there, just tap in some little bit of foliage down there on the ground. I'm just going to angle it upward, like, it's going way back. Now you'll notice I did put some yellow ochre with a touch of orange in the center off to the left. up to uh, up to the stream, but I'm continuing to put more yellow back. That's a real bright area back there on the ground. Now I'm going into a medium gray, black, a little bit of white, and I've got just a short little brush, kind of small, and I'm just gonna dot in maybe some stones, a little darker gray. I'm gonna put in some stones back there, just kind of push in on my brush, and because it's a stony area. And I've got some black. I'm gonna make some boulders, distant boulders that are at the beginning of that stream, just kind of shaping in along the bank. I'm gonna make a color white, a little bit of black, to make a kind of a medium to dark gray. And I'm going to brush in the base color of the stream. And as it meets the liquid white, it will gradually turn lighter. So, and I do have I believe it's just a touch of blue, just a touch. And I am keeping my angles. It probably doesn't look like it, but I'm going straight across. I'm not really angling the way it looks, but it's basically straight, keeping my angles very straight. I'm going to add a little bit of orange color in here, straight orange. It's going to be some reflections off of the sun and a little, the trees. Put a little yellow at the bottom. Now I've kind of shaped out some boulders on the right there with a kind of a bluish black. Just give me an idea where I'm going to have my boulders. All right, so now I'm back into with my fan brush with yellow, tapping yellow and white. And I'm going to put that right on some of that gray area back there. Just going to tap in a little color, watching my angles, just tapping it in. I'm going to add a little orange to that. Put some orange color in there, reflections. And I'm working my way down on that bank with the yellow, and I'm back into the orange, a little bit of the Indian red, and just kind of scruffing my brush downward. You can lift up if you want, whatever works. Now I have a little too much yellow right there, so this is a little trick I do with a shop towel. Just put it on there and just rub gently, pull it off, and see how that takes the excess color off, so it's not quite so blobby. Ah, but that does help. Back into the yellow and white. Just tapping in some brightness in there. Putting a little more orange on the left side. It's going to be a little darker area, so as we come forward, tapping in some burnt sienna, touch of red, and with my yellow on the fan brush, I'm going to do the right side of that bank. keeping the angles going upward. I added a little color in there, working my way forward, adding the orange. And I'm going to put a little tree there next to the one on the left. Put some arms on it. I've got a little round brush going into white and a little black, making gray. And I'm going to start putting in some boulders in the water. Little uh, stones way in the back. Not making them real big, but as I come forward, they will be bigger because these are distant rocks. Just shaping out, putting some rocks on the bank on the right there with black, and then I touch a little bit of white on the bottom half. Okay, I'm gonna put a tree right there. I got a little thinner on my brush, and I'm just going all the way to the top, just to show myself where I want to put it. Now I'm going into straight black. Roll it. Start at the base and then just go all the way up. Nice and pretty straight. A little narrower at the top. I'll be putting little arms on that one too. And the base is going to be you'll be able to see the roots. So I'm bringing the roots out a little longer. It's going to be like maybe 3 or 4 that stick out there. I've got a liner brush, straight black. Put some arms on that tree, branches. And if it doesn't want to go on very smooth, you can dip your brush a little bit of thinner back into the black, and it should work pretty good. Few more arms at the top. Okay, now I etched out there in gray a line where the water, I'm going to have a little waterfall kind of in the center part, and then as the water rushes down into that little area there, I'm just kind of shaping where there's going to be lots of rocks in there. So I want to make sure I have a nice straight line from where that waterfall is going to gush down into. Well, I'm back putting in some rocks on the right side, boulders with dark gray, kind of coming out uh, on the bank side, just coming into the water a little bit. In the darker areas, I just use the gray, shape the boulder. Then I can do little accents with the dark color. I'm even putting some dark stones, boulders in the water. Give it a little variety. More on the left side. There's kind of a big one there that comes out into the water. And you notice as you come forward, they're going to be darker. put another big one that goes up onto the bank. And I do use my finger to blend just a little bit. Now I've made that area really dark. You see in that, there's going to be some big boulders there, and I'm adding some, where the leaves have fallen and they collected on the bank side. I did take a little thinner on a shop towel, and I took out some of that gray that was there, added yellow and orange. So now I'm back into my black, and I started putting in some boulders on the right, and I did add a little blue color in there. But I'm going to put in a couple little trees right among those stones that are there. Don't have to go all the way up. And it's leaning a little bit, so narrower at the top. And a second little one, kind of in between those. I'll be putting some arms on those too. You notice I did put a little lavender in the water there. Uh, little lavender and blue, very small amount. I'm going straight black. I'm going to shape this big old boulder. And you'll see how when I do these, it's how I did the front ones. I put the dark in there first, and then I put the lighter gray blue as the highlight color on the tops of those. Kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but you'll see how I make those really stand out nice. Just shaping the boulder first. Now I'm going into the blue, a little phthalo black, and a little bit of white. It's kind of a bluish, a light bluish gray. And see how I'm going on the tops of those boulders? And I use my fingers too, because it doesn't have to be no straight lines. It's just, accent color, highlight color on those rocks. I'm mixing up the same color, kind of a light bluish gray. There, I'm using my finger to kind of blend it in. It shapes that rock. Isn't that pretty? I'll make another one over here. And the back big one there will angle downward. It's just kind of nice to put that accent highlight on there. It really brings it to life. I'm going to make another small rock there using that light blue-gray. Shape it in there. I'm just using my finger to blend it down into that black area. That's kind of a shadow area. I extended that rock where I put the white in the center there where the water. I extended that out a little bit more, shaping, putting a little dark color at the base of that. And I'm going to create some more shadows below that too. Got some lavender going on there in the middle. I just put that on with my finger. I'm going into orange, a little bit of yellow, a little filbert brush. And I'm going to put a little color. Actually, it looks more red, but I'm going to put a little color in the water there. Kind of zigzagging in that area. I did put a shadow of the tree down there. I don't know if you can see it, straight line there. That's supposedly the shadow of the big tree way above there. So I'm smoothing it out with my finger, adding a little more red and orange. Now I'm going to put in some darker color here. I'm going to create a dark area where it's a shadow from that rock. And I do end up making it quite a bit darker there. And then I take a clean dry brush and just brush over it, going one direction. Okay, I'm going into white fan brush. I'm going to start doing some action going on in that water. I'm going to start making some little splashes in there. So I'm just kind of lightly brushing across. And then pulling down a little bit where the water is pretending they were going over some rocks there. Very light touches. And the white has to be fairly thin. You don't want it thick, otherwise it's just not going to stick to your paint that's on the canvas. I'm just tapping in some little wave movements in there, leaving some of those gray areas in there. Putting a little water kind of coming over the rocks. It's very light touches. I'm kind of pushing up a little bit, creating some movement with just the corner of my brush. I'm trying to pull down there. I'm making some water that's coming over that little stone ridge. I have a gnarly little fan brush. It's got half of its brushes there, but I really like it because I can get in the really small, tiny areas. I added a rock in there. Felt that it needed a rock. I put a little black area in there. And I'm taking a shop towel. I'm going to go over that, take a little bit of that excess off. I'm just going to smooth it on the sides. Now I'm going to go back into the white on my fan brush. I'll see if I can create some water. There, see? Just one little swipe. Then you need to wipe the brush off and reload. Get a nice, clean little water fall, sort of. It's not really a waterfall, but I mean, it's coming over the rocks. And I'm just tapping with my small brush, creating some, I guess, foamies, you call them, where the waters rush in. I'm taking my little um, palette knife, a little bit of white on there, going to create a water line between the rock and the shadow. I want to divide that so you can tell It's a shadow in the water. Going into a little gray and doing a little darker shadows toward the back there. And if you messed up, you can just take a little brush and straighten that out. Yeah, it just looks like a little water movement there around those big boulders. Putting in some water lines, kind of here and there, showing the movement of the water, the direction that it's going. And in front of that big old boulder there, the water's kind of cooling, collecting. So you can straighten out some of those lines if you want with a little clean dry brush. Now I'm going into black, the liner brush. I'm going to put a few arms on that little tree. A few little branches. And some arms on this other big one on the right side. Now there's a big old tree there. Um, just putting some downward arms. Now I'm going into red and orange and a little bit of yellow. I'm making a real bright orange. And I'm tapping in a little color on those arms. See how pretty they look? I'm going to put a little gnarly tree alongside of this big tree. It's going to be kind of coming out into the water a little bit over the boulders. Tapping into that bright orange and yellow, touch of red. Just make it as bright as you can. That Indian red is good with orange and yellow. Putting a little color there next to that tree, big tree. Got some big hill there. That angle goes right up. So I want, some leaves there. Some fallen leaves. Tapping in some color. A little bit of orange, a little bit of red, a little bit of um, yellow there. Okay, now I'm putting a little bit of highlight on that big tree. It's a little bit of light gray. And I'm putting in some little grasses with a um, tiny little long brush. Just putting in some grasses. Give it a little, um, some texture. Here and there. I almost see a finished painting here. Boy, I really love doing this one. I had a lot of fun putting in all the leaves and everything, and I hope you follow along. Pause and paint on this one. So until next time, happy painting and God bless.